Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Laras Mutiara Cahya Sari and I want to present about stress in complex words. A complex word is a word made up of two or more morphemes. Stress placement in complex words, which are of two types. There are words made from the basic stem word with an addition of an affix consisting of prefix or suffix, and compound words which are made of two or more words. For example, in the word blackbird. Then affixes. Affixes are of two sorts in English. There are prefixes and suffixes. Prefixes which come before the stem. Jadi, prefixes itu kata imbuhan sebelum stemnya. Contohnya pada kata unpleasant, yaitu berasal dari kata pleasant yang mendapat imbuhan un di depannya, menjadi kata unpleasant. And suffixes which come after the stem. Jadi suffixes itu muncul setelah stem. Contohnya pada kata personality. Stemnya itu person, ditambahi imbuhan di belakangnya ality menjadi personality. And affixes have one of three possible effects on word stress. There are the stress moves to the affix, or the affix itself receives the primary stress. For example, in the word personality. Kata personality berasal dari kata person. Person mempunyai stress di awal kata, yaitu primary stress. Kemudian, person menjadi personality, itu pasti mengubah transcription-nya dan cara membacanya, sehingga stress pada personality dan person itu berbeda. Jadi stress dari p itu pindah ke ne. Then the stress remains on the stem and on the same syllable. Maksudnya stresnya itu tetap berada di stem dan berada di silabel yang sama. For example, in the word unpleasant, that comes from a word pleasant yang mendapat imbuhan an di depannya. The word pleasant has a primary stress in the first syllable. Dan kemudian ketika mendapatkan imbuhan an di depannya, phonetic transcription-nya masih tetap sama, yaitu stressnya masih berada di play. So, the stress remains on play. Next, the stress remains on the stem but moves to a different syllable. Maksudnya, stressnya itu masih tetap berada di stemnya, tetapi berpindah ke syllable yang berbeda. For example, in the word magnetic, that comes from a word magnet. The word magnetic berasal dari kata magnet yang mendapat imbuhan ec or ik, dan kemudian menjadi magnetic. Pada kata magnet memiliki primary stress in the first syllable. Kemudian setelah mendapatkan imbuhan ik yang menjadi magnetic, phonetic transcription-nya dan stressnya berubah pada syllable yang berbeda, yaitu the stress moved from mag to net. How suffix affects stress placement? So some English suffixes affects stress placement in different ways. There are primary stress on the suffix and secondary stress on the stem. if the stem consists of more than one syllable, and a secondary stress in the stem but never on the last syllable. Jadi, secondary stressnya selalu berada di awal syllable. For example, in the word refugee, that comes from a word refuge plus e as suffix. In the word refuge has a primary stress in the first syllable. Kemudian, mendapatkan imbuhan i menjadi refugee, primary stressnya pindah ke suffix, yaitu g. Dan kemudian terdapat secondary stress on the first syllable, ref. Next, primary stress remains on the stem. For example, in the word comfortable, that comes from a word comfort. The word comfort has a primary stress in the first syllable, com. Kemudian mendapatkan imbuhan able di belakangnya menjadi comfortable, dan primary stressnya tetap berada di stemnya, di depan, yaitu di first syllable. And primary stress moves from one syllable to another but still on the stem. For example, in the word climatic, that comes from a word climate, has a primary stress in the first syllable. Kemudian mendapatkan imbuhan ic yang menjadi kata climatic, yang membuat primary stressnya berpindah ke syllable yang berbeda, yaitu may. How prefix affects stress placement? There is no prefix of one or two syllables that always carries primary stress. The effect of prefix on stress placement follows the regular rules for stress placement for polysyllabic words without prefix. Stress placement in compound words. Some compounds are made of more than two words, but we will not consider this. Compounds are written in different ways. There are sometimes written as one word, for example, in the word armchair, and sometimes with the word separate by a hyphen, for example, in the word open-minded, and sometimes with two words separate by a space, for example, in the word desk lamp. Then there are several patterns in determining a compound word. There are combined two nouns, and which normally has the stress on the first syllable or the first element, for example, in the word sunrise. Second, adjective. In adjective, primary stress is on the second word and secondary stress is on the first word. For example, in the word heavy-handed. And in adjective, it always use past participle ed at the end. Third, number. Compounds in which the first element is a number in some form also tend to have final stress. And the primary stress is on the second word and secondary stress is on the first word. And it is always noun. For example, in the word second class, the secondary stress is on the first syllable and the primary stress is on the second word. In any word class, the combination serves as adverb are usually final stressed, and the primary stress is placed on the second word and the secondary stress on the first word. For example, in the word downstream. And in adverb, the combination serves as verbs. The primary stress is placed on the second word and the secondary stress on the first word. For example, in the word downgrade. Downgrade has primary stress is placed on the second word and the secondary stress placed on the first word. Stress placement doesn't always follow rules, and when it does, it follows the rules that have been previously explained. When it doesn't, it's because of the following reasons. There are the stress placement changes according to the environment surrounding the world, and the stress placement changes according to the speaker's preference. Word class pair. The term of word class pair refers to two words with identical spelling but different stress placement. Apparently, according to word class of noun, verb, or adjective, and all appear to consist of prefix plus stem. For example, in the word abstract, jika kata abstract menjadi adjective and noun, stresnya itu berada di silabel yang pertama, yaitu ab, dan itu adalah primary stress. Namun, jika kata abstrak dijadikan sebagai verb, stresnya itu berada di silabel yang kedua, yaitu struck. So, the change in the stress placement is affected by the word class, and the rules are: if the word class is verb, place the stress on the second syllable, and if the word class is either noun or adjective, place the stress on the first syllable, seperti yang sudah dicontohkan tadi. That's all from me. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.